Undertale was an indie game primarily created by Toby Fox, released in 2015, that was met with monstrous success, becoming not only one of the most well-received games of that year, but creating a pop culture phenomenon. Ever since then, myself and many others have been chasing the magic of what made Undertale, well, Undertale. Its lovable characters, imaginative soundtrack, and just everything about the game, in order for us to fall in love with another game series all over again. And if you liked Undertale, well, you're in luck. Here are some games that are free and some paid games that are just like Undertale. Also, if you want me to do another game in another episode of the series, please feel free to comment down below. Also, if you enjoy what's to come, I recommend subscribing to the channel. I'm going to try making more videos like this, so why not subscribe? It's totally free. You can change your mind at any time. On with the episode, and thank you for listening. I know that most of you have probably played this game, but just in case you're not up to date on Toby Fox's newer projects, Deltarune is a must play. Not only does this capture the wackier side of Undertale perfectly, probably because it's Toby Fox writing this after all, but it feels like a proper evolution of the Undertale gameplay, with many additions being added to sort of remedy a couple issues that people had, such as sprinting, more battle mechanics, parties, and a lot more. In Undertale, one of the most defining parts of the game was the soundtrack, and I assure you that Toby Fox did not sleep on the soundtrack. It is probably some of the best songs he's ever made. The story is also great, containing a lot of the wackier and Tumblr sexy man characters that made Undertale, but it's still a developing story as of now, only the first 2 chapters being released, and if you want to hop in early like the rest of us waiting for more content, there is a seat right here for you. If you haven't played Deltarune, I highly recommend it. The first 2 chapters are free. It's available on Steam, itch.io on Windows and Mac, and on consoles such as the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 and 5. Unfortunately, there is no Xbox release yet. Yume Nikki is by far the weirdest game on this list, and if you're looking for a game with not only a weird amount of content but also a lot of community support behind it, then congratulations, I've found your new obsession. Yume Nikki, which is Japanese for Dream Diary, is a game where you play as a small girl, Madotsuki, and you explore her dreams. It's a mostly open world game where you're exploring this area called the Nexus, which connect Madotsuki to a bunch of her dreams, and you go around these dreams looking for these things called effects, which basically change the way you move around or interact with the world, with the most obvious example being the bike, which makes you go faster. Yume Nikki is a huge game, and I haven't actually seen everything in this game even after playing it myself and watching countless YouTube videos, so there's a ton of stuff to see here. There's also a load of fan games based off Yume Nikki as well, with the most commonly known being Dot Flow and Yume Tuki, a fan-made sequel. Honestly, I think Undertale fans will get a kick out of Yume Nikki because, well, they're both top-down RPGs, and honestly, they're both really weird games. Obviously, Yume Nikki is a lot more weirder than Undertale, but if you liked Undertale, you liked it for those weird attributes it had, I think try Yume Nikki. It's a cool game, and I'm sure you'll like it. If you want to know more about Yume Nikki, you can play it for free on Steam, or get it for $2.99 on the Play Store. I highly recommend going completely blind and just seeing the weird world this has to offer. However, there is a reimagining of the game called Yume Nikki Dream Diary. Yes, the title is called Dream Diary Dream Diary. It's available on Steam, but it's very different to the original, so honestly, I'd, in my opinion, just stick with the original, and if you want to try that reimagining, go for it. Also, there was an official manga released for Yume Nikki in 2013, so if you'd like to read that, I'll put that in the description as well.
Escaped Chasm is not at all similar to Undertale, but I still want to talk about it. They show developers with Temmie Chang, who did a lot of the art in Undertale, developing it, and Toby Fox doing the music. Unlike Undertale, it doesn't have battles, it doesn't have funny interactions, and at its core, Escaped Chasm is more of a horror/thriller game. I still want to recommend the game due to it being made by the same developers, but Jesus man, this game is quite scary. I'm going to be honest, a lot of the endings are kind of anxiety-inducing, suspenseful, I'm not sure what the term is, but similar to a game this later, Amori, it's kind of a horror. If you're fine with that horror aspect, I recommend playing it, but again, at its core, it's not at all like Undertale. The gameplay even is just kind of walking around and talking to people, so it's pretty short. My first run that you're seeing on screen was about 8 minutes long, and this was the worst ending in the game. But the game can probably last you an hour if you go for 100% completion. But there's a sequel, Dweller's Empty Path, which shares similar gameplay but a lot more expansive this time. It will last you about 1 to 2 hours and has many new features that were improved on, including saving, so it's a long game. Both games are available on itch.io for free on Windows and Mac OS.
One Shot is a beautiful RPG. If you're a fan of the fourth wall breaking elements that were present towards the end of Undertale, then you will love One Shot. One Shot is a puzzle RPG that contains a cute story as well as a lot of fourth wall breaks. You overview this little guy named Nico and you explore an expansive world while you try to save that world. It's got a fun cast of characters, extremely great soundtrack, and some magnificently clever puzzles. Unlike Undertale, One Shot doesn't have any battle elements. You don't fight anyone, you just kind of walk around and solve puzzles, and I know that sounds boring, but if you love the puzzles that were in Undertale, you will love One Shot. One Shot also has the similarity of having some of the best video game music ever written. As well as some of the best writing in a video game I've ever seen. All these characters are just amazing and story rich, it's very good. Please play this game. One Shot is available on Windows and Linux PCs, but will be coming to the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in 2022. And honestly, this port looks kind of interesting because, well, a lot of the puzzles take place on a computer, so it'll be interesting the way they do this, but I'm looking forward to it. I recommend this game 100%. Earthbound is an obvious pick for people who want to play games like Undertale due to its humour, gameplay and story. While the battles are more similar to other RPGs of its era, it still has that top-down perspective that you've come to know and love from Undertale, and the humour in the story will please any Undertale fan, as well as provide a deeper appreciation for how Undertale came to be. A well-known of trivia about Undertale is that one of the first things that Toby Fox published online that started to get a lot of attention was a ROM hack, which is a modification of an older game to make something new out of it, of Earthbound, titled Press the B-Button Stupid, or the more widely known name as Earthbound Halloween Hack. Earthbound is available on the Nintendo Switch Online subscription service, or more widely available through other means. I'd also recommend Earthbound Beginnings on Nintendo Switch Online as well, which is the first game in the Mother series. And I suggest Mother 3, the third game in the series, but we can't play it legally. Nintendo, please. Chicory: A Colorful Tale is by far the most different game on this list, with the only huge thing in being in common with Undertale is the fact that they're both top-down RPGs. Chicory is about giving the world a little bit of colour by painting it, and honestly, it's just such a cute little game. I feel like the Undertale community would probably love and appreciate this game due to the heavy focus it has on art. And that's just because the Undertale community has so many talented artists who draw, so if you want to put that drawing into a game that's kind of like Undertale, I recommend Chicory: A Colorful Tale. You really get to make this game your own, and that's why I have a feeling the Undertale fan community will just fall in love with it. Chicory: A Colorful Tale is available on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4 and 5, Mac and Windows through the Steam service. Omori is a really special game to me. I don't think a game has had much emotional impact on me besides the Life is Strange series as this one. It's just insanely story rich. I don't want to say too many details of this game just because I think it's so interesting, but if you're not a fan of suicide and depression and are sensitive to those kind of topics, I would not play this. But if you are, you'll find it's more on the horror side, similar to Yume Nikki. But if you go further than that, you'll find this beautifully written, fantastically crafted game. I can understand the price being a bit too much for people, as most of the games on this list are around the $20 mark, but this game will last you a very long time, especially if you're an achievement hunter. It's taken me like 4 or 5 run-throughs of the game just to find everything that I wanted to see. The battles are similar to more standard RPGs, but have this beautiful hand-drawn style that makes each battle feel extremely engaging. The soundtrack is beautiful, with some of the greatest songs I've heard in video game history being there, and Toby Fox even has a hidden song on it. But when you're not battling, you're in a top-down RPG exploring this fantasy world very similar to Undertale. Omori is on PC, and even has a Nintendo Switch and PS4 ports of the game coming out in about June. That was the first episode of my brand new show. If you liked it, comment down below, give me some feedback, leave a like, subscribe, suggest more games to be on this show. I just want to do something to help out the indie game scene. So I hope you appreciate it. Also, if you haven't yet, subscribe to future episodes. I want to do more stuff like this, so if you subscribe, I'll post more videos like this in the future. That being said, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.